Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1359A, and today's date is August 20th, 2017, and the title of the episode is Beware of the Red Swan and Negative Interest Rates. Let's get into the economic collapse financial news. Now, as we know, the NAFTA negotiations, they have started. Now, Robert Lighthizer, he came out, and he's the U.S. Trade Representative. He came out and said the negotiations would be transparent. Well, they promised transparency, but what is happening right now is they are discussing the NAFTA parameters in secrecy right now. And the documents, the negotiations, they are all labeled classified, and they're cloaked in secrecy. But corporate lobbyists, they have access to all of this, and they're all over it. So here we are once again, just like the TPP, where they're keeping the entire negotiations out of the spotlight, not allowing the American people to see exactly what is going on. Now, the Electronic Frontier Foundation said the following: once again, following the failed model of the Trans-Pacific Partnership, the USTR will be keeping the negotiating text secret, and in actual regression from the TPP, will be holding no public stakeholder events alongside the first round. This may or may not set a precedent for future rounds that will rotate between the three countries every few weeks thereafter, with a scheduled end date of mid-2018. Now, you have to remember, during Lighthizer's confirmation hearing in March, he promised to make the negotiations transparent and to listen to more stakeholders and the public. But as we can see, this isn't happening as of right now. Now, this might change, but we can see at this point there are certain interests that are, keeping this completely a secret. Now, we know why. They don't want what is actually in NAFTA to be out there in the public, and they don't want to be talking about what is in there out in the open, because these agreements were never created to benefit the American people. It was not to bring more jobs here into the United States. But personally, I think this needs all to come out in the open. Everyone needs to know what is going on. Everyone needs to realize what is happening. And I think at this point, Trump needs to say, you know something, we're done with this, and we need to bring this out into the open. But this isn't happening. Now, the U.S. economy is going to be running into major problems. Now, we talked about what is happening in the economy with retail, GDP, unemployment, tax receipts. I mean, you name it, we've been talking about it, the automobile subprime, and we could see that the entire economy is deteriorating very, very quickly. And a lot of the U.S. economy has been propped up by foreign investors, low interest rates, hedge funds, investment companies, buying up real estate. Well, this might be coming to an end, because we kind of expected this. We kind of knew that this might have been occurring in the background, because we know that China has been creating their Belt and Road, their Silk Road, and we know that China, over the many years, have been investing in the United States. And right now what is happening is China's State Council, they've issued guidelines on what Chinese companies can and cannot acquire overseas. Now, the purpose of all of this is to promote a healthy growth of overseas investment and prevent risks. Now, what's risky? It's the United States. It's all those countries that are in a huge amount of debt. Yes, China is in a huge amount of debt also. They're taking their investments and they are transferring it over to the Belt and Road system. And we can see that if China, or when China, decides to stop investing in the United States, buying up real estate, buying up entertainment businesses, buying up hotels, we're going to be in a huge amount of trouble. So Chinese companies, they've been given priority to invest in overseas commercial real estate, such as office towers, apartment buildings, hotels. They've been investing in Hollywood. And what is going to happen here is with the new Chinese guidelines, they're going to start pulling this away from the United States, their investment dollars, and they're going to be pouring this into those countries involved in the Belt and Road Initiative. And the United States is going to be left out in the cold. So this is going to be a huge problem. And we can see why they're doing this, because they understand that the Belt and Road, and this is their project, this is going to be the wave of the future. Here in the United States, this is not benefiting them in any way. So investments, certain investments will be restricted. They'll not be able to go out into the United States and invest. They're going to have to do it with those countries that are involved in the Belt and Road system. Now, David Stockman is out there, and he is warning about the red swan. And when we look at this, we can see why he is warning about this. And, there's other reasons why this is happening. But what we're seeing right now is that Wall Street is saying that, the global economy is accelerating, everything is fine, corporate profits, they're surging. But what Wall Street is saying, it's a complete lie. What's actually going on is a short-lived global credit growth impulse coming from China. Now, if they start to pull their investments, that is the red swan. That is the point where everything is going to come to a screeching halt here in the United States. And what we're seeing right now is that the global economy, it's not growing as fast as Wall Street is saying. It's not accelerating as fast as Wall Street is saying. And what we're seeing is that China and their debt has grown very large, just like the United States and many other countries. But remember, they've been purchasing a lot of gold. They've been using the U.S. debt to finance other projects. Now, a lot of people think, they're just building apartment buildings and things like that. They've been funneling all this money into the Belt and Road because they know economically in the future, this is going to bring in a return. They're setting up something just like you invest in a business where you spend, millions of dollars and you are in debt for millions of dollars, because what you're doing is you're setting up a business to hopefully later on bring in a return. This is what China has been doing. Now, the United States has just been pumping, more and more currency, creating more and more currency, and they haven't been doing anything where they're going to set up any type of return, setting up any type of economic system. They're just trying to keep everything the same and basically using military force in other countries to do what the United States wants. They're not using economic negotiations to better the United States economy. And China right now realizes this, and they say, something, we're creating the Belt and Road. We're going to set up this whole trade system. This is going to benefit China. It's going to benefit all the other countries. And we're moving away from the United States. And we're going to see a lot of countries start to do this. And we can see that as we move forward, this is going to be a huge problem for the United States. And we can see already that Kenneth Rogoff, a professor of the economics at Harvard University, he's already recommending to the central banks that during the next recession, it's funny how they keep talking about the next recession, because we're already in a recession. And if the economy is recovering and everything is so great, they've been talking about the next recession, the next economic crisis quite a bit. But what he's saying is during the next recession, the central banks, and this is a recommendation coming from him, they're going to have to resort to negative interest rates, and they should prepare for it now. Now, they've been preparing this for quite a while. They know during the next economic crisis, because Janet Yellen was out there actually saying it, during the next economic crisis, we're going to have to go negative. The ECB's been saying this, and they know exactly what is going. They know that during the next economic crisis, they have no alternative but to bring the interest rates into negative territory. The increase of interest rates right now was a complete illusion to make people believe that the economy was doing well, and they knew that as they raised the rates just a little bit at a time, the economy is very weak, of course, they knew that they would trigger the economy to deteriorate even faster, which will enable them to then say, okay, we're entering a recession. Of course, they're going to point the finger someplace else, and this would give them the permission to bring the interest rates to the negative territory, because people will say, please save the economy. And this is what they're looking to do. Also, it will allow them to restart stimulus, to create a lot more currency than they have before. And this is what they've been trying to do. Now, remember, negative interest rates have created a pension crisis, and that is on the horizon right now. And they have wiped out many states, provinces, cities, and municipalities. The policy is one-dimensional, and it looks at demand and how to force people to spend. Of course, people aren't spending because they're losing their jobs left and right. And people don't have the extra funds to go out and spend. And if we go into this negative territory, it's not going to help the economy. It's going to make everything worse. What they're trying to do once we enter this recession, of course, the official recession, we're already in a recession, they're going to tell people that they're stabilizing the economy. And the economy is starting to improve a little bit. And of course, this is the story they're going to use. But as we know, this is going to be completely fake, phony, and false, because we understand that there's no way to basically bring the economy back to where it was prior to 2008. It's completely impossible. Look at all the retail stores that are closing. Look at manufacturing right now. The housing market is going to be a complete and utter disaster. We know Freddie and Fannie Mae, well, they're in a huge amount of trouble. If we enter a recession, they're going to need $100 billion. Now, of course, that's what's being reported. They're going to need probably 3 times that amount, because that's what it always comes down to. Their estimates are always wrong, and they're going to need a lot more. So we're entering this phase where China is pulling back. We're going to see this red swan. Their investment dollars are going to be drying up because they're going to be pushing everything into the Belt and Road. We're going to see that what is happening here in the United States is just going to get worse and worse as time goes on. It's not going to improve. And we're already seeing economists telling the central bank, yeah, we have no choice. We're going to have to go to negative rates. And we are headed in this direction. This is why I'm telling everyone, and this is why a lot of other people are telling people, that you need to get prepared, because we can see what's on the horizon. Can you imagine if you go back to 2008 and we were reporting on this saying, listen, we looked at the subprime securities. Most of them are completely garbage. They're defaulting. This is going to crash. The economy is not doing as well. And there were people out there like Peter Schiff and many others telling people this. But if you listen back then, back in 2005, 2006, 2007, you would have been preparing yourself for what happened in 2008. Now, of course, we don't know the exact time frame, but as long as you're prepared, you will be ready for what is coming. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.